Welcome to 100 Yards of Football, and this is our legend segment. And boy, we got a show for you tonight. Hey, we're going back in the day. We're going back in the day. Back in Delray, Boca Raton, Florida, way back in the day. I got three of my buddies here with me. We're gonna start off with Mr. Mark Richt. Mark Richt, everybody should know who he is. So we're gonna talk about Boca High. So he played high school football at Boca High School for the Boca Bobcat. He led his team his senior year. He led his team to the semifinals, the state playoff, and it was an amazing year because they played the number one team in the nation, Carroll City High School out of Miami, and they barely lost the game. We played college football at the U. Under the great Howard Snellenberger. Mark played quarterback at college, and he played behind some great guys. He had a great career at Miami. Played with Jim Kelly, named one quarterback, and he was mentored by a great all-time great NFL quarterback by the name of Earl Morrall. Probably, arguably, the best backup quarterback in the history of the National Football League.
Right.
He was one of your quarterback mentors. And then after college, you went on and you played a little bit with the Denver Broncos, played with John Elway in Denver. And before you start coaching, and of course, we know about your coaching career. Started up there with Coach Bowden in Tallahassee. That was a good thing, by the way.
Oh, yeah. 15 years.
We can't get you to come play, but we'll keep you the coach up there, right? We got some role. And so you started out there and became a quarterback coach, and you left for 1 year. You were offensive coordinator at East Carolina.
Right.
Came back to Florida State as an offensive coordinator, and the rest is history. Recruited some of the top quarterbacks in the nation. Helped Florida State to win a couple national titles, a couple Heisman Trophy winners, and then you went off and you left us and went to Athens, Georgia, and coached at the University of Georgia. Had a stellar career there, 15 seasons in Georgia, and I think you left there probably all-time winning percentage head coach.
Yeah.
In University of Georgia football.
Yeah, if you went winning percentage, yes. If you went number of wins, it was Coach Dooley.
Well, he coached a lot longer than me. Had you been there as long?
He had Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker. He did.
Yeah.
And so, hey, man, welcome to the show. I mean, you've been a great role model. You have some great mentors in your life, and we're going to talk a little bit about that during the show. And
I just want to say one more thing real quick.
Go ahead.
I had a lot of help at Boca High, and that's two of these guys right here.
No doubt about it. So we're going to talk about Prince Arafat, my man. Hey, listen, man, this guy, I've known Blue for a long time. And he played with you at Boca High School, was an all-world middle linebacker at Boca High School. And I'm going to tell you guys one thing about this guy. If they had a rating service back in the day, Mark, and they had the 1-star, 2, 3, 4, 5-star, this guy would be a 5-star. He would have been a 10-star. Right now.
He got at least 6.
Oh, he and I'm gonna tell you something, man. He came to Florida State with me, man. He was a heck of a ball player, freshman All-American at Florida State, middle linebacker. He was just doing things on a different level, and I knew a lot about him. I can remember just passing your house all the time in Delray. And every time I would pass your house, you'll be under the carport bench pressing. I don't care what time of day. He's bench pressing. I was like, man, what are you doing? What are you working on, right? And so, man, I never get how proud I was when you came to Florida State and joined me up there. I'm gonna say this about him. I gotta say this about this guy. I played football a long time. Played with a lot of great players. And Mark, I played with two guys in my life that I call just a total complete football player. One of them is William Andrews. I played with in Atlanta. Can do everything.
Right.
Charles Ferguson was the second guy. He can do a real football player. He can do anything. He could play every position on the defense if he had to.
He scared the hell out of me, and he was on my team.
When well, we don't get into it, but when we Coach Coffey asked me, and with the late Mark Williams,
Right?
And,
yes.
Between Boot, Tom Smith, and Mark, and Boot was out there. Boot came up with us.
Came up with it. That's right.
Absolutely, that's true.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but Mark had that swag in him. So I told Coach, I said, Coach, let me tee off on him one time.
Let's see what you got, huh?
And I was saying, now if he can take that punishment, then we're gonna be all right. So I remember Coach gave me the nod. I know that the play gonna be right. Instead of Mark pitching, he kept it, and I teed off on him. And Mark got up, everybody looking, and then I know I said, "We got a quarterback." He told me, he said, "That's all you got?"
What? I love it. Hey, he was a competitor, man.
Yeah. He said, "That's all you got."
Okay. That's
good stuff.
And then we got the baby of this group, right? Spencer Jackson, Wally Moon from Delray. And one thing I can say with this guy, all right, he was with you guys in Boca Bobcats, right? He was on that great team. You guys, hey man, you guys had some real talent on that team. Right? Boca was never lacking for talent in the football program. But when you guys were there, Mark, you was a quarterback. You had Spencer out wide on one side. You had Lawrence Slim on the other side.
Yeah.
And then you had
Greg Fashaw.
In the backfield, yes.
Hey, listen, Greg Fashaw may be the best running back to ever come out of Delray. Period.
Yeah.
Greg Fashaw. You had Al Lewis at fullback.
Al Lewis
Glenn
at fullback,
Hoyer tight end.
Man, you guys were loaded. You were loaded.
Then you had backing up Fashaw, you had Doug Collins.
Oh yeah, we had Doug.
Wow, man. But this is what I know. Spencer Jackson. All right, Spencer, you don't know this, but you know your dad used to work at Atlantic.
Yes.
I've been working with your dad for 4 years to get you to come to Atlantic.
Okay.
And then when you left Boca and you went to Florida, I just thought you was coming to Florida State. I said, well, he ain't playing with my high school. Maybe he'll come to Florida State.
Well, that was in the plan. Well, like I watched on one of your shows before, you had that meeting with Coach Bowden, and he took me in the room, had a meeting with him, and he said, "You look like a good defensive back." And that kind of
Coach would do that.
I did that for him.
Oh, man. I can relate to that.
I think he did to you, right?
All right.
Well, you never knew what he was going to say. You never recruit ready to sign, and you hope Coach Bowden didn't do something to make it a little crazy. Oh my God! I'll save it for after the show.
Okay. Well, Spencer, I want to say this about you because you're 2 years younger than me, right? And so
yes.
When we played for the Rock, Mark, we had so much talent on every team.
Oh, I know.
I couldn't wait to see what the guys above me was going to do. And I couldn't wait to see what the little guys was going to do.
Right.
Spencer Jackson, man, he's a lighter up. He was so good with the ball. I don't know why he never played running back, tailback, anything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he was real good with the ball, and Boot was throwing the ball to him. On every level, we had great talent, man.
Absolutely.
It was just good to see, man, and grow up.
By the way, Boot had his day at Boca. Boot had his day.
79.
79 my last year, yes.
Yeah.
He had.
But I'll tell you this here, love. I'll tell you this here. Spencer had the best hands.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The only person I would put over Spencer was Alfonso Wilson.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's big now.
So that'll be There'll be 1A, 1B.
That's big right there.
All right. I'll take that.
Spin ain't dropping no pass.
No.
No.
Of
If I'm
course.
gonna take the hit, I might as well catch the ball.
You gonna get hit anyway, right?
Hey,
Talk about making a quarterback look good. Spencer was really good at that.
Hey, Mark, you had some weapons.
No, there ain't no doubt.
So let's get into it. You guys, I know about these two guys, Mark, but I don't know a lot about you before Boca High School.
Right.
So when did you start playing football? How old were you when you started playing football?
Well, I was in Broomfield, Colorado when I was at age to play organized football.
Okay.
And you had to be in the 4th grade, I think, before you could put pads on and play. So it was miserable when my older brother got to play 2 years ahead of me. I had to watch him, and he didn't really like it too much, to be honest with you. And I was like, dang, man, if I could just somehow be my brother and be able to play now, I couldn't wait. But and the other thing too is, I don't know how there was a weight limit. If you weighed a certain amount,
right,
you couldn't run. You couldn't be in the backfield. You had to be a tight end or a tackle or whatever it was.
Okay.
So
all right.
my second year, I had to play offensive line because I was too big. That was in Broomfield. But then when we moved to Boca Raton, they had the Boca Jets, obviously, and we had mentioned a little bit about how the thing I loved about middle school days was there was no middle school football.
Right.
So we all were kind of getting to know each other. Some kids from Delray, some kids from Boca. But the thing about it, on Fridays before a game day, Saturday, the Rocks would always put their jerseys on, the Delray Rocks, and the Boca Jets would put our jerseys on.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing that red and blue and white jersey, and I see Charles Ferguson III, Prince Charles Ferguson III, with a couple other, probably Mark Williams and who knows who else. I'm at my locker, and I sense something ain't right. And I look over my shoulder, and I see these dudes breathing fire, looking at me like it's about to get thrown down, right? I'm like, oh, crap, here we go. I get my locker ready. But then, if I remember correctly, Merville King, who didn't play ball, but he was in my homeroom class, he's like, hey, if y'all gonna throw down with him, you have to fight me too. And I think the bell rang and saved me for class to start. But it was some good days, and when we finally integrated to high school, we all became teammates. So it wasn't about the Rocks and the Jets anymore.
Right.
It was about Boca High Bobcats, and that's when we became close, and even closer through the love of Roger Coffey.
Wow. Hey guys, I'll tell you one thing, Mark. One of the things that I regretted, as a kid, if you could have really just experienced what it was like at Carver High in Delray, it was just a special time. And as a kid, Larry Coffey's always been my best friend in the world, right? And so I spent a lot of time in that home. And man, the only regret I got was that I never got a chance to play for that guy, man.
Yeah, he's so.
Coffey, man, was.
Well, we loved him.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. You know who was Coach Coffey on his level? Bump Mitchell.
Yeah,
absolutely, yes.
Because man, he's my first coach with the Rocks, and unbelievable, man. I mean, I can tell you some stories there, but I'll do that on the show.
But when you say about Coach Coffey, love me and you know, because we came up in our Carver area, and man, that was my desire, man, to wear that blue and white.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And man, when they split them schools up, man, I cried like a baby.
Yeah,
I cried like a baby.
Yeah, we all did, man.
But when Coach came to Boca, me and Mark senior year, Spencer junior year, that's was his team that started the building process of getting that championship formed.
Yeah, right.
He was reunited. He was getting everything ready.
Right.
And I remember when they fired Coach.
Oh yeah.
Mark was really one of the we had a lot of alloys, Andy Barris, Jeff Guysbrook, You know, they spoke up for Coach. They spoke up Coach.
Wow.
And Coach, you had to love Coach, man.
Oh, absolutely.
You had to love Coach told you to run through that wall. He have you so
Well, as y'all know, we were actually going into our senior season, and Coach got fired.
Right, yeah.
And I still don't know to this day why. I do not know. I even asked Coach that question before he passed, and by then he really couldn't tell me the answer. But but we were like, we ain't playing.
Right.
Yeah. They were like, what do you mean you ain't playing? I said, we ain't playing.
We ain't playing.
And all y'all came to my house. Although everybody on the team came to my house, we signed a petition saying we ain't playing. If Coach ain't coming back, we ain't playing. And we boycotted the practice. We didn't practice for I don't know how many days.
Oh, wow.
Until Coach Coffee came to us and said, you boys got to play.
Right.
You know, don't worry about me. Y'all got to play.
Right.
You know, this football season. So we finally reluctantly said yes. And then Coach Otis Gray, obviously, he inherited a bunch of guys that didn't want it. You know what I mean? He wanted Coach Coffee. That was all there was to it.
And only
did a rough job.
And Coach DeMarco used Coach Coffee playbook. So all the plays.
Yes. Oh, really? Nothing new at all.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Never changed.
Yes.
And all the plays stayed there. Only Coach Gray was a figurehead.
Okay.
That's all he was, a figurehead.
So let me ask y'all this question. Because I didn't get a chance to see, when I was in school, I never got a chance to see y'all play. I saw one Boca High game when I was in high school. It was my 10th grade year in high school, and we were not playing the same weekend. So let me ask y'all this, because I know at one time Coach Coffee was running the wishbone.
Right.
So I know he didn't run the wishbone with you guys.
Not with me.
No. What happened, brother?
I mean, you were catching the ball. Slim was catching the ball.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were throwing the ball. So it had to be different, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of offense?
Spencer, answer that.
Well, everything went deep, Bobby. You know it deep, we'll go get it.
We laid it out.
And
when Coach Gray came in, he liked running the veer.
Okay.
Right. And Coach Coffee had told me, look, don't give him my playbook. Okay, early on.
Right. Yeah.
Early on, when we started practicing again. And Coach DeMarco, as you mentioned, was going to help run the offense. But Coach DeMarco was more of a line guy. He didn't really understand the routes and all that. So he kind of had to count on me and Spencer and Lawrence and Glenn and all them guys that kind of knew what they were doing already to run that system. Well, I wasn't going to give up Coach Coffee's playbook because I was too loyal to Coach Coffee.
Right.
And then
Yes.
Coach Gray, y'all know Coach Gray now. He sent me in his office one day and said, look, you know the words he would use. You so-and-so. If you don't give us that so-and-so playbook, I'm going to run the so-and-so beer. You're going to get your little ass kicked. So I go to Coach Coffee and I said, Coach, please let us run this offensive system. He finally relented and said, "Go ahead." I'll never forget that conversation.
That's funny, man. That's
but look, we ran a power I.
Okay.
Right? But we had the variation of the option with the I.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We did run little options too.
Yeah, we had the option with the I. You know, you fake it with the fullback and then you pitch it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then once in a blue moon, I'd run it. Once in a blue moon.
Hey,
I'd much rather
with his feet. Mark Beans with the feet, man.
That's what they should have done.
Oh, man. So you guys, man, really turned it around because one of the things that we all talk about, Blue. Like I got buddies from Delray who played at Boca, and playing with them with the Delray Rocks. Matter of fact, we didn't have maybe but a handful of guys at Atlantic who played for the Rocks. All right, myself, Larry Coffey, Mo Wesley, Keith Washington. That was it.
No, you had Nelson McMurray.
We had Nelson. That's right. We had Nelson. We did have. But a lot of the guys, a lot of the better players, man, at Atlantic never played, for the Rocks. I mean, we had Elijah Davis, who just passed a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Muttley. And Mo West was always in and out. I mean, he played for the Rocks, but not all the time, right?
Right.
And I'm telling you, that guy was the greatest athlete I played with in my life until I played with Deion Sanders. He was that kind of athlete, Mo Wesley.
Yeah, Mo was a bad boy.
Well, he was unbelievable. And people like Steve Cornelius. The Cornelius family.
The whole family.
Best football players in Delray.
Yeah.
I don't think one of them played for the Delray Rocks. Not one. Yeah. So Mark, here's the big deal. So last week we had Red Odom. You know who Red Odom is?
Oh yeah.
All right, we had Red Odom. We had Coach Nate Collins. He used to coach at Lake Worth.
Okay.
We had Bill Caesar on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, and so all those guys played at Carver High in 64, 63, 64. Back then, when Mr. Pompey was the head coach. And they went like 3 years without losing a game.
Wow, I don't doubt that.
And so what we find out is that the talent pool in Delray, Boca, and Boynton is real high.
Right.
We got so many great football players. I mean, you think about Carver High and Atlantic High playing together, and you have to ask this question: where are all those guys going to play?
Right.
Right. Somebody was not going to play.
Right.
Right. Because we think about that, and then back in those days, all the guys at Carver, they couldn't play. I mean, they had to wait their turn.
They had to wait their turn, right?
They had to wait their turn. And then I think about 1965, before we truly integrated, they had this act that the African American students can go to Seacrest High School. And so that high school was integrated before 1970.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so when I was a kid, I used to want to go to all the Carver High games, but my dad wouldn't take me, right? So I would sit at the house and listen to Seacrest play on the radio. And I knew about people like Steve Harton, who played quarterback at Seacrest. Right. Dennis Matthews, they call him Rock.
Yeah.
And Ronnie Mack, and all those great players over there. I could listen to them play on the radio. And I always used to wonder, well, if they were at Carver, where would they have played? It's just too many guys.
They couldn't play.
They couldn't play. They had to wait their turn.
Wait their turn.
It's not like nowadays where kids can transfer in high school anytime they want.
Exactly.
I mean, you lived in a certain area, and then that's where you went to school, unless they changed, like you said, unless they changed the zoning. But that's another thing about Coach Coffey that was such a healing balm to the communities, the two communities. I mean, there was still unrest at Boca High.
Yes.
There was still crap hitting the fan. And I never forget, if anything ever broke out, he'd say, y'all come right straight to this cafeteria.
Right.
Y'all don't get in the middle of that mess.
Right.
You gonna play ball for me? You're gonna come in this cafeteria. We ain't gonna have nothing to do with it.
That's good.
And, he was just that kind of guy that could bring people together, and the sport of football obviously brought us all together and made us become friends and made us count on each other.
Absolutely.
And it never would have happened that way.
Right.
It never would have happened that way. I wouldn't get to know wonderful people.
Well, we look back now and we understand the true brotherhood of this game. Amen. Right? I mean, these guys here, man, they're forever be in my heart. Mark, you too. I mean, we really met when we were in high school. You were hanging out at Coach Coffey's house. I met you there, and then we used to work out a little bit at Carver High. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Way back in the day, and then of course we competed against each other in college, right?
Right.
So, I got to tell
your mother worked at Boca High, right?
And my mother was the bookkeeper at Boca High.
Right.
That's right.
That's right. So it's a small world, right? And so, but the brotherhood of this game, how it really truly bring us together and bond us together for life, man. There's nothing like the game of football when it comes to relationships.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And especially with us, me and Spencer, and especially when Mark, we got at Boca. And when we seen the talent, you got to remember now, we didn't play both ways. Now we integrated. Like if somebody got hurt
Right.
on the opposite line, I may have to plug in, or
Right.
Al Lewis got hurt, I'll go to fullback.
Right.
But we had our own offense, our own defense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I asked Mark one day when he brought me up to Athens, and there was that practice. I said, "Hey man, why you don't let the first team defense go against the first team offense?"
That was the only way. That was the only way.
You hurt everybody. There you go. There you go. The dog.
Hey, when you look at team pictures, we might have had but 30 guys on the whole team. We didn't have that many guys on that team.
Right.
The guys that were there were really good, and like you said, you know, we had enough to have two complete, one offense and one defense, and not many crossovers.
Well, you know, that's the thing that hurt us at Atlantic, because, you know, we had 7-8 guys playing both ways. You know, I was a quarterback. I played safety. I was a punter. I was a punt returner. I was deep on kick. I came off the field only on the kickoff team. So, but every year when I was in high school, we get to the semifinal and we got 2 guys hurt. So now we got to replace 4 positions.
Yeah.
Not 2 positions.
That's tough.
And it's going to be hard to win like that. You know, I mean, we fought and we came close a few times, but we never got over the ball. So,
and definitely with us, we played Spink would tell you, we had the offense already, coach had already the offensive set. And I think, Mark, if you remember, going to our senior year, Coach told us how to break down film. He gave you a projector.
Oh, yeah.
Gave me
we did watch film.
Yeah.
Yes, we did study.
The only thing he told me to say, when this film come on, you start counting it down. And that's all he told me. And then when I went to Florida State, Coach Stan.
Right.
Coach Stan said, why you, and then Coach McDowell, my linebacker coach, he said, well, why are you so meticulous in on the down? I said, well, that's how I was taught.
Right.
You know, I know people have tendencies. First down, you know, and mostly people are human. We are repetitious. You know what I mean? You like to run on first down or pass on first down. So that gave her, and Coach Coffey instilled that into us. And I remember even this day, man, vividly. He gave Mark one of my old projectors, gave me one.
Yeah.
And he told me to bring my projector back.
Yeah.
Don't break my projector.
He said,
don't be watching nothing else but football on that.
Coach Brown, hey, he told me if you want to play quarterback, you got to quit baseball. You got to quit basketball. If you're gonna be my guy, you got to study that film, like you were saying.
Wow.
And,
that's big.
So I bought in 100%, and he showed me a lot of love, man. He showed me a lot of love.
Well, he's a great man. Now let me ask you all this. Now I can answer this question for these two, but I want them to answer this on this podcast. What do you play other than football?
Say it again.
What other sports did you play?
Well, for me, I was a baseball player, Bobby.
Right.
And you mentioned the Delray Rocks. Actually, I started playing with the Rocks late. I started playing baseball when I was like 8.
Wow. Okay.
And I didn't start playing football or organized football until I was 11. But Dad wouldn't let me come out there and play. You know, I was going out and watch you guys come on the bus from the Civic Center, rocking the bus, making all the chants. I wanted to get out there, but he wouldn't let me get out there, you know. But
you were shortstop, were you?
Yes, shortstop. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I had opportunities to go, you know, out of college. I mean, out of high school, straight to the pros.
Mm-hmm.
But, as you know, my mother had most influence on me. So you got to go to school, get your education.
Get that paper.
Right. You know how I knew you played shortstop? You know how I knew you played shortstop? Because how I knew you played shortstop, because we had middle school baseball.
Right.
And I played shortstop. And you played shortstop. And guess who played shortstop? I played third base. I played third base.
Well, Mark, you're a really good baseball player, though, right?
Well, I was more of a pitcher than I was. But, I thought I was going to win this job. I see this cat out there. He's so smooth. It's crazy.
Well, Spencer, so let me ask you this. Was Red Odom was the one that introduced you to baseball? Your dad? How was you introduced to baseball?
Well, actually, it was my dad. I mean, that was like a ritual for me and him to sit down on Sunday mornings or Sunday afternoons and watch baseball. Once after I would watch it on TV, I would go out in the backyard and try to emulate it.
Okay.
And then Red Odom, yes, he did, was a very instrumental in me, getting better, so to speak, giving me the tools that I needed and the mindset to play.
Right, absolutely. That's good. Now, Blue, I know you played baseball too.
Yeah, I catch. I played for my goddaddy Zach. He just passed.
Right.
And I catch, pitch, outfield. I played all. I was playing baseball first, maybe around 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And I remember out there Pompeii, there was no fence and there was no grass. It was just straight clay. You know what I mean?
Right.
And me, Mo Wesley, Jack Bernard, Willie Bernard.
That's right.
Some of the old time, Pretty Slim. And then later on, then Spencer. But a lot of, because time we left baseball, we went straight into football.
Yes.
That's right.
That's what's different about the things now. It's either you got to choose a sport, football or baseball. But back then we played whatever season it was that we played.
Basketball too.
So Mark, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we're having this conversation. All right, I played football, I played basketball, and I ran track. Y'all play football, basketball, and baseball. And you played basketball and baseball as well, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And so I know for me, as a 9th grader at Atlantic High School, the best thing I did was play basketball. I got moved up to the varsity as a 9th grader, all right? And I'm playing basketball. And what if Coach Dobar would have said to me, Bobby, you got to put that football down. Jack, you need to concentrate on this basketball. You're my guy.
Right.
I would have missed the whole boat, right? And so always figure this way. We got a guy who's an athlete, you can't make him pick a sport. The sport has got to pick him.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
But nowadays, man, they make it so impossible for kids. I mean, in high school, football and basketball coach are at it, man. They have to get my own home, right?
Right.
My son Bryce, everything. And
you know what I remember the most about basketball is when you went from football season to basketball season, and you think you're in shape to that first basketball practice, and then you are just dying on the court, and then they run exercise at the end, and you're like puking and everything. It's like the most miserable practices ever was like that first week back playing basketball after football season. It was rough.
Exactly.
It was rough.
So let me ask you this question. When you were at Florida State, right? When you were coaching there, I mean, you coached one of the best talent in the country, right?
Yes, sir.
And so when they got to that period when Dion and Leroy Butler and T-Buck, and Charlie and all those guys were in school, I mean, that was a different level of athlete.
Oh, yeah.
Playing. But you had some guys running track there. How did you feel about those guys missing spring football and running that team at Florida State?
Well, you talk about Deion Sanders. One day at Florida State, he went to spring practice scrimmage on a Saturday, won the 100 meters in the Metro track meet, and played baseball that night. All in one day.
All in one day. It's crazy.
The only quarterback I had that wanted to play both was Danny Canal, I think.
Okay.
There might have been one other guy that wanted to do both. And, it didn't bother me, if especially early, like when I was at Florida State, talking about guys waiting their turn, them QBs.
Right.
Charlie Ward was his 4th year out of high school before he ever played at Florida State. Maybe his 5th year, because I think he sat out a year and then redshirted. We allowed him to play basketball. Well, what am I thinking about? Charlie played basketball.
That's right.
And played it well. But early in his career, when Casey Weldon and Brad Johnson were the quarterbacks, and Charlie was a year behind them, we said, look, you're 1 year behind these dudes. We're either going to compete with these guys or let's redshirt you and put you 2 years separated from them.
Right.
And then when it's your day, you'll have 2 years to be the man.
Right.
And then so he said, well, if we're going to do that, would you let me try out for basketball?
Okay.
So we let him try out for basketball. When basketball started, like in October, whenever that first practice is, we let him leave football completely.
Oh, wow.
And earn that starting job as a point guard for the basketball team. And then from every year on after that, he was the man. He had already been established as a guard.
Right. Exactly.
And so he became, obviously, 14-year NBA career is what happened after winning the Heisman in football.
That says it all right there, right? I mean,
so it was pretty sweet.
That says it all. But one of the things I can say, Mark, is growing up the way I grew up in Delray, I'm really proud of football players out of Delray Beach and out of South Palm Beach County. I look for them all over. I'm 61 years old. I cut a game on. I see a kid from somewhere. I start Googling his name. Oh, he's from Delray. And I start watching him every week, right?
Yeah.
So I'm such a fan of that. I don't know what it is in the water down there in South Florida, but nobody ever talk about on a big scale. Nobody ever talks about Delray, Boca, and Boynton together. In Palm Beach County, they talk about the muck.
Right. Oh yeah.
And all I can tell you, at Atlantic, we open up with Belgrade every game, every year. That's the first game. The second game is Pahokee.
Oh yeah.
And in 4 years, we didn't lose either one of them.
And even in our senior year,
yeah, baby,
we went out to Belgrade. I'm trying to re-rock them.
You rocked
it. Yeah, we did.
I'm trying to. Hey, guess what? They rocked our bus on the way out.
Yeah,
you had to fight to get out of there.
Hey, listen, I can tell you some things because we had to go over there all the time.
Yeah.
Football, basketball, and track now.
Oh, gosh.
So I can tell you some stories about that. Oh my God.
That 718 established the unity of the communities of black and white.
Right.
Because, at that time, because it was still tension.
It was.
We got there like 72 all the way up, almost like 77.
Yes.
We were still riding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And one year, I think 74, we made 60 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so the football, when Coach Coffey came, that bridged the gap of the community.
He was the king.
He brought families together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Boca had Boca had a lot of money. You know what I mean? And
some of us did.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Not me.
Come on. So what side of Boca you lived on?
I know, right?
I lived right where
I
lived right near Florida Atlantic. It was not anything special. It was a nice home, but it wasn't crazy. Yeah. It wasn't like on the water and all that stuff. all that stuff.
You want like Marchetti and
no.
Andy.
Bellastero?
Yeah. Hey, love. Bellastero, they stayed in mansions.
Exactly. Right. Me and Garsbrook were on the same street.
And you got to remember now, love. My defensive line was consists of Roland Evans, Dank Evans.
All right.
5'7", 5'6", maybe 150.
Okay.
Wet.
Okay.
Maurice Bull White. 5'5", 130. Reggie Frazier.
Okay.
Jeff got the biggest guy we had on our line was Benny DeLuca.
Benny DeLuca.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
About 230. Other than that, we were small. And we playing 4A ball.
Right. Largest classification back then.
Yeah, we playing 4A ball. And we got to play Pittsburgh, not Pittsburgh, Fort Pierce, John R. Leonard, Lake Worth.
Lake Worth.
That when you had Coach Collins on there, and Varro.
He didn't want to talk about that.
We went to Lake. Hey, Coach Gray said, listen, they and Coach John Osborne and
right?
Yeah, told us say they can't score. They can't score.
Right.
Hey, our best game, love, Spence and Mark can contest this. We went to Gainesville. I got to say this. And we played Storyline.
Okay. All right.
At the University of Florida.
Okay.
Right.
So when we get there, we leave Boca. Well, we left on a Wednesday or Thursday when we got up there.
I think it was a Wednesday.
A Wednesday.
We spent at least 1 or 2 nights.
Right.
Yes.
So what happened, love? The defense went. We broke curfew.
As usual.
I want to tell the story.
Hey, we broke curfew, and we went to go get 2 cases of beer.
Okay.
So the coaches all on. We about half a mile from the hotel. So we get back. That's why I'm in love with this man Mark here. I said, now we got something. I already knew we had something. So Edom, all of them there. But see, Edom, they down with us. So Blue don't gonna play. They were, but they asked. See, me and Mark was the offensive captain. I was the defensive captain.
Right.
So Coach Gray said, and with DeMarco, what are we gonna do with them? Mark said suspend them. Say we can win without them. Now, Edom said, man, you crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
It ain't gonna happen.
You crazy. What? But Mark said, no, they broke curfew.
Right.
They spent it from the game. So I think Friday we had a Thursday practice or something. We ain't practice. So Gainesville, they done put out, we've been suspended, breaking curfew and all this. And I come in the room, so me and Mark talking. I said, man, I appreciate that. I said, you got some balls, man. You gonna suspend us? I said, yeah, man, y'all broke the rules, man. So I didn't know every game, Mother Richt will make Mark a ham and cheese sandwich.
Yeah.
Every game. So after me and him get through talking and the team, we sitting there just talking. He bring out this big old nice ham and cheese sandwich.
Yeah, that's right.
I said, man, listen, I got to have some of that. Hey, Mar went thug on me. He didn't say, my mother made this. He said, man, my mama made this. And she made this every game for me. You can't get none of this here. I said, what? I just got the room and just started laughing, man.
That's true. Well, I'm glad somebody came to their senses and let you play. Because
Me too. Yeah, it would have been a disaster.
You had 22 unassisted tackles that game.
Hey, look, that game there, Gainesville High did not go across the 50-yard line.
What?
No, y'all defense killed them.
I know what the game. They had a bad game. Okay. We won the game 6-0. We scored 1 touchdown.
Wow.
Yeah.
6-0. Wow. And they couldn't get past the 50-yard line.
Wow. That's a big game right there.
We put it on them, man.
That's a big game right there.
We put it on.
Well, I tell you, man. Like I say, man, I root for everybody on this podcast, man. I love all you guys. And, every one of you guys means something different to me, and I got stories by all of you guys, right, that live with me, and they'll live with me forever. And not just you guys, but a ton of guys make our brotherhood just so special. I can't even explain how proud I am of everyone in this room. Blue, Mark, I got to get both you guys back on and to a testimony to share your life story, because at the end of the day, we do this. God blessed us to do it, to give him glory, and to bring glory to his name and to be a witness. And so
Absolutely.
we got to get.
I'm all in.
Hey, listen, I got to tell you this, Mark. When Blue went to Athens to speak to your team, I got that recording. I sat here and cried like a baby.
It was powerful.
It was one of the most powerful testimonies I've ever heard in my life. And so, we got to do more of that. We got to do more of that together. And I know a little bit about your testimony with Coach Bowden, your loss on Lopez.
Yeah.
And how he ministered to you, and just being that kind of a father figure, and being a witness around everybody. I'm talking a true witness,
Yes.
Some guys say some things, but they're not living it, right? And so, Coach Bowden has always influence on a lot of people's lives, and so.
Absolutely. And another thing too, love. Before I know time is running down, but with Eve and Rick, man, and with yourself, it just showed the product that came out of South Florida, man.
Absolutely.
But God put us each in a different time slot. And I remember scripture says in Ecclesiastes, to everything there's a season and a time and purpose.
Yes. Amen.
When I went to prison, I had to go.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because then I found me.
Amen.
And then so it could help somebody else. You know what I mean? I didn't understand it at first.
Well, you found God's purpose.
Yes. I found the purpose. I found your purpose first was on the football. Mark was the coach.
Right.
That played also in the league.
Right.
But my purpose was to go into the jail and get me together. And then I got a whole bunch.
Somebody else. Yeah.
And now get having people together. So I found my purpose. I thought my purpose was between the 150 yard
right
throughout the world. You
right.
know what I mean?
See? And that work. I mean, it's amazing how God works. The scripture also says that God knows the plans that he has for you.
Yes.
Right? And so we make our own plans. It's a good thing. You got to have a plan.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
got to have a vision for your life.
But God got the best.
You always got to make room for God to formulate that thing. Yeah. Because I'm going to tell you one thing, man. I'm going to tell you one thing. You couldn't have told me I could have went to college to play quarterback. I could have played, right? And so you couldn't have told me that. But in the 8th grade, I sat the bench for the first time, and I was so angry. And Red Orm every night would ask me to play defense, right? And I didn't want to do it. But eventually, I had to go through it and learn how to tackle.
Yep.
2 years later, as a 10th grader, I'm starting on the varsity Atlantic at free safety. I'm the backup quarterback, but I'm starting. 2 years later, how many touchdown passes I threw? Nobody recruited me to do that, but they recruited me to play defense. I was an All-American in college playing defense.
Oh, yeah.
I was the first round draft because I played 12 years in the league.
Amen.
Because of that one thing I didn't want to do.
And I remember them tackling drills because sometimes Red will put me and you.
That's right.
Go ahead.
All right, that's right.
Yeah.
And y'all know this dude was a tackling machine, right? He was no joke.
Man.
Well, listen, man. Again, I love you. Appreciate your time. And Mark, we'll do this again. Blue, we'll do it.
I'm in. You know how to find me.
Yeah, I know how to find me. And we got to get Greg and Slim and all the rest of them on here too, man. It'll be a good reunion for me.
I'd mentioned to bring Garsbrook on, but
Jeff got to be on. Yeah, Jeff got to be on.
I was afraid if Jeff started talking, he might not stop. Like just one long sentence for 1 hour straight.
Well, listen, love you guys. Hey, that's our show tonight, guys. If you saw this, like the video, share it. This is 100 Yards of Football. This is our legend segment. Mark Richt, thank you for being on the show. Prince Arafat, thank you for being on the show. Spencer Jackson, thank you so much for being on the show. That's our time.